Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon now, sorry, middle of the day. I'm Ricky Sainty, and here's my presentation on myself as far as Erikson's 8 stages go. Where do we start? Stage 1, infancy. Was one of those things. There's a couple pictures of me as a kid. Environment that was there that I had was discipline still. I know it's birth 18 months, but my parents are very, very disciplinarian type people and accountability, so I was learning even at a young age to handle the discipline factor in my life. But I was a kid who was fully dependent on my mother and father at that point in my life, but that's a couple pictures of me where I was at. One of the things that my parents were able to do is they really provided me a lot of opportunities and being good caregivers, and we'll talk more about that later in other stages, but having that opportunity for them to show support and develop a bond between myself and them was pretty awesome. Obviously, they provided food and nourishment as a big part of stage 1 to get me where I'm at now, hence the multiple chins and cheeks, maybe a little too much food and nourishment, to be honest with you. Stage 2 brought me autonomy and shame and doubt, reverse shame and doubt, ages 2 and 3. Environment for me, again, you're going to see accountability and discipline a lot with me. It's a big thing. They held me accountable in every action I did. Again, even at young ages, they had a huge respect, was a huge word in our house, and I learned it as a young age, and I still use it this day at the age of 40 almost, and it's one of those things that I try to teach to my kids I coach, my kids I teach, and everyone else in between. So it's a big piece. So it's the environment was very filled with accountability, discipline, but a big respect was there too. My parents established norms. They taught me how to go to the bathroom, take care of me with the toilet and whatnot. So definitely a big stage in my life where I learned a lot. And as much as you don't think it then, you know it now. You start to know how big a role they did play in your life. Stage 3, that big thing with the preschool age, initiative versus guilt. One of those things again. Accountability is there. Discipline. I felt more love at that age, as obviously I started to understand more. How important my parents were and what they did and what they were able to do for me at this age. And I was big into exploration, and I learned a lot about what was right, what was wrong at this age. I still remember, cabinet doors, which is kind of amazing to me at my when I was in Illinois. We lived in Illinois, and opening some food cabinets and cabinet doors, and I know that usually happens in 2 and 3, but I remember playing with a lot of things back then, and it was one of those things that I learned quite a bit on what to play with and what not to play with. Stage 4, school age, I started to get in here. I learned a little bit about guidance. As my parents were guiding me to, and putting me in situations. We actually got transferred for work between stages 3 and 4. My dad did, from Illinois to Minnesota. And it was one of those things that was able to guide me, they were able to guide me in many ways as I was going through some things and trying to figure out my life especially with industrioususness and inferiority, and whatnot. But it was definitely a learning stage in the school age. And as I know, my brothers, because I had two younger brothers, one was a year and a week apart, and the other one was 7 years younger than me, 7.5 years younger than me. So it's one of those things that we talk about confidence. You start to develop confidence sometimes at this age. I know confidence was a non-thing in our home. My parents really, really pushed being humble and not confident or not arrogant or not. You respect others, and it was a big, like I said, it was a big piece of our learning environment at home. Failure was a learning tool. We learned a lot as kids on what to do and what not to do, and when we failed, it was most things we learned from it. We say a lot of times in our house, it's not losing, it's learning. So when you fail or you lose, you're learning something because you learn from your mistakes always. Parents were definitely supportive most times. Obviously, sometimes I didn't feel like it, but it was one of those things that they were very supportive with me for the most part, and put me to where I am today a lot of times. And this project has taught me a lot about that. I'm thanking them a lot more and more now to this point. Stage 5, adolescence. With identity versus role confusion. I have 3 there. Obviously, I didn't put the third one in. I'll just tell you what it is. But the identity piece was for me. I was trying to identify who I was as a person in the middle school, high school ages. I had a lot of independence in the environment. I wanted to think things that I could do them, or I had answers for things. Was a big piece. But I think love was a big one here because I was trying to figure out, do I really love my parents? Do I, how do I go about them, like being in my life? How are they involved? How are they? What kind of role do they play in my life as people? So that was a big one. So sorry about not putting that in there, but that's what's supposed to be there. But yeah, again, stage 5, I was involved in sports, all types of sports: football, soccer, hockey, baseball. I didn't get my hands on ping pong, lacrosse, basketball. I would try to play as much as I could through my entire life. Sorry about that. Had a little interruption. If we go back to here, stage 5. Like I said, I was involved in all sports as much as possible, but I will tell you my parents controlled a lot of what I did until 10th grade. And as you can see here, this is actually my current wife. We met when we were 15 years old, and we've been dating ever since. And married at the age of 23, so married almost over 16 years now. So yeah, that's that. But a lot of times I wanted to go off on my own at age 15. It was one of those things that, like, I have the answers. You provided me this support. You disciplined me here. You showed me respect. You held me accountable. Now I can do my own thing. I can make my own decisions. And I did struggle a lot on being told what to do because I thought I had all the answers, which was definitely interesting for me. And then at stage 6, there's a kind of picture of my wife and I just after high school. I think we're at her parents' cabin with some friends, and there's an environment that I wanted to be creative in this environment because I wanted to create what all the stuff that I had taken from my parents and coaches and teachers and used it and applied it to my own adulthood. So I'm creative. The environment, I said creative because I was trying to create an environment for myself to be successful in. I definitely learned a lot. Obviously, going to college, playing college sports. Now, starting my first teaching job, getting married. There's a lot, finding out relationships. That's a big piece. And then identifying who I was, like who my friends were, maybe, what colleagues I got along with, what I didn't, who I didn't get along with my wife. What we're trying to identify where we were at in our life and our relationship. Excuse me. So that's a big piece too. One of those things you fight through the intimacy and the isolation piece. It's that whole piece of trying to figure out what's good, what's bad type thing. And I know, like I said this before, and I said I'd allude to it later, and here it is. And failure creates a lot of isolation at times. As far as dating, my wife and I, there's times that we fail. We broke up a couple times. There's sports that teaches you plenty about failure. There's teaching. I was failed plenty of times at teaching, but it's put me where I'm at today in my current dream job as a teacher at Rosemont High School. But I did create a strong background for me. And then during this time I was able to get engaged, married, with kids. We have 3 kids of ourselves, and learning to be an adult in the real world is a big piece. And I've spent the last, plenty of years doing that and learning that. So this is a big piece for me as I enter into stage 7, which is kind of scary to me in life, and looking at the stages and knowing that I'm close to stage 8. And I don't want to think about that ever. I'm in that middle adulthood probably right now, where there's a picture of my family. I actually just screenshotted my computer. The background was the best thing to do. My 3 kids, actually, that's a year-old. So I have a 13-year-old, I have a 10-year-old daughter, 9-year-old son. They're my world. I love them to pieces, and I'm trying to provide the best thing for them. So I'm working to provide for my family. Also doing a dream job, which is great. As you can do both, it's awesome. I want to be a parent to provide my kids the best possible opportunities in life, and I want to make sure they fail because they got to learn from failure. That's what a lot of that. My life has been, learning from mistakes and learning from even successes, which is a great thing. And I want my kids to have the same opportunities. I'm not saying I want my kids to fail all the time, but I want them to learn that there's times that when you do fail, you got to learn from it. I feel that it's one of those things that I've been doing some self-reflection a lot as well. It's for me, I didn't think I would ever have like this midlife crisis. I'm not there, but you start to reflect on a lot of your life. Holy crap, I'm half my life right now and trying to figure out where I'm at, what I'm doing, and it's one of those things that it's definitely eye-opening to reflect a little bit. And as of the last couple of years, going through some things. We had a house fire in 2016 with the family, which was pretty scary. We've had a lot of people help out and reach out and help in different ways when that happened. And ever since then, I've kind of had this opportunity and being the head coach here in town has also played a role in it, but of paying it forward. I really want to pay it forward as much as I can to kids, to the kids I teach, kids I coach. I really want the opportunity to pay it forward as much as possible with kids and people in life, and continue to make that a message that I provide for my students, for my athletes, for my own kids especially, and understand how important that piece is through life. And lastly, that maturity piece is, I know I just talked about it. I know most people have not. I'm just kind of reflecting on it because I feel like I'm close enough almost. But I feel like, I'll continue to do a lot of self-reflecting when I get there, and find ways to pay it forward still, but find ways to share messages and wisdom about things that I want people to know that I took from my life and that they should take from their life. And I want to celebrate my kids and their kids and help guide them along, and prepare them for the future, and provide the best possible opportunities for success and failure as well, so they can learn and continue to move on. But that's a little bit about me as far as Erikson's 8 stages and where I'm at. Sorry for the interruption in between. Thank you so much for listening, and have a wonderful day.